Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker, Curtis Stevens, and Dave Ross. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. It's 419-794-3030. Online, arhq.com. Don't forget, if you missed the first half of the show or previous editions of the show, you just want to catch up, all available via podcast on YouTube. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, like I mentioned. Search for America's Retirement Headquarters. All the episodes, all the segments there for you to digest at your leisure. Again, just search for America's Retirement Headquarters. Rock icon Ozzy Osbourne will be the first to tell you his days, well, they are numbered. In a recent interview with Rolling Stone UK, Ozzy says he has probably about 10 years left to live following recent health challenges, including surgeries and a bout with Parkinson's. This is a tough admission for anyone to make. Guys, if somebody came to you with the same realization, can you help make sure their estate plan is set?
You know, looking at estate planning is extremely important. I think at all ages, you'd notice, I think, our advice to everybody when they come in the office or everybody who's listening, you need to have your basic estate plans put in place. You need to have properly named beneficiary designations on things like your 401ks, your IRAs, your life insurance. You need to have the correct legal documents like a will, power of attorney, those supporting documents. They make a ton of sense. This even gets more important when you think of what I would refer to as late-stage estate planning. Let me give you an example. I have this lady who came into the office. This was a couple of years ago. We'll just call her Sally. Sally had come into the office because her mother had fallen ill, and her mother was not doing very well. She was in the hospital, and it wasn't expected that Mom was going to be here for a long time. And what Sally had come in is she came into the office because she had heard about the importance of having beneficiaries on accounts. And so what she did is she looked at her mom's large 401k. So this was like a $750,000 401k. And what she noticed is that her mother, Nancy, had not named a beneficiary on her 401k. Now, in this particular situation, Sally was the only child. So it would naturally make sense that she would have been probably who Nancy would have named as her beneficiary. She's the only child. And Sally also had a power of attorney, so she came in to get some advice on what to do. I told her to take the power of attorney document, go to the financial institution, and make sure that you get that beneficiary designation updated. Well, what happened was the financial institution rejected the power of attorney that Sally had because Sally, being the power of attorney in the document, did not have the authority to actually name herself as a beneficiary too. So in the past, there must have been some issues that power of attorneys named themselves some beneficiaries on accounts. And so the laws have changed where you need to make sure that it's clear that if you're the power of attorney, you're able to do that and name yourself as a beneficiary if that's one of the powers that you want to have. Long story short, Nancy passed away. The entire account became a tax and probate time bomb. So, roughly half of the money was just immediately blown up because of the form of immediate income taxes as well as probate fees, attorney fees, and let alone the headache that the daughter Sally had to go through in that entire process. We're on the flip end of the scale, dealing with hundreds of retirees. It's just, unfortunately, it's a natural part of our business that clients pass away. And, for a client, it's the first time they ever lost a loved one, a spouse. I mean, it's a traumatic experience. So whether it's providing our clients with the survivor checklist and or sitting down with them and walking them through the process and explaining to them and helping hold their hand through that process, I think that's where us as advisors really earn a lot, is helping the family go through that overall process. And I can 150% tell you that I've seen the positive impacts of proactive estate planning has had on a family. And I can 150% tell you the negative impacts of families who've messed it up. So the way that we can help you is, one, double check your beneficiary designations. 2, look for ways to avoid probate. 3, make sure you have your wills, your estate plans up to date. And number 4, get a prepaid funeral arrangement plan. It can help out a lot. And one of the things that we can help you out with is somebody who watches us either on YouTube or one of our podcasts or here, on Toledo's largest talk station on WSBD, is call our office and get a copy of the Ultimate Estate Planning Checklist. That Ultimate Estate Planning Checklist can take, what's my combined nearly 30 years of experience in figuring out where these mistakes happen, what to look for when you're looking at your beneficiary mistakes, things like where do you keep your passwords, because somebody's going to need to know how to go in and get that information. So that's something that we can help you with, whether it's the beginning stages of doing your estate planning or whether it's something, man, we really need to get this updated because a new health situations come up and it forces us to address this issue. That's what we can do when we take a look at it. What are the areas when you guys are talking with clients? What are the areas that you're talking with or you're talking with your friends or coworkers about when you're thinking about the terms of estate planning and advice that you give?
I was actually just cracking up here a second ago when he was talking about the 10-minute. I got to give a shout out to Fred. You know who you are. Started doing business with Fred, and every time I would answer Fred's question, he would ask me, is that in my 10-year plan? Because I'm dying in 10 years. And he just had a birthday, and so I had to check with him if it went down to 9, but he's still on the 10-year plan. And so it's made my job so much easier. I can serve him in a higher capacity and at a much higher quality for him and his family. Everything you said, I would say. And then on a personal side, I've seen clients get a lot of value from decluttering their life. Look, if you've got 2 kids, the kid that can't afford it is the one that wants your house. So start getting rid of your stuff, declutter that, and lighten the load.
It's easy. It's easy to let that stuff build up. I know, my wife and I, we've been in our house for about 18 years now, and she's done a great job. She's been going in the attic, cleaning stuff out. It is wild how much you accumulate. So it does help. Even decluttering your life goes a long way with updating your documents.
But Nolan, that's the same thing with your finances. You do not want your estate cluttered when you hand that over, and that's part of the reason I brought it up. Estate clutter is a huge issue at the time that it transfers.
Yeah, I can think about another client of mine in particular. You talk about decluttering their finances. In her situation, she's still fairly healthy, but, in her late 80s, obviously at some point, mom's going to pass away. And so she had these investments kind of all over the place, some here, some there. Decluttering them, what we're able to do is able to kind of take and combine some of these accounts in one household. That makes it a lot easier for the kids, ultimately, when you're dealing with one versus multiple different companies when dealing with the overall estate planning. So I love the advice of decluttering your life as well.
I lost my mother 33 years ago. And back then, we all, as beneficiaries on different accounts, we had to agree on how we were going to take the money. And of course, there's some of us that didn't need it, and then there's always one that does. And so we had to make a decision based on the one that did. And the rules have most definitely changed. I just handled another situation where we have 9 beneficiaries, and each of the 9 were able to make their own decision based on their own personal situation. It was a lot of paperwork, but I'll tell you what, it was very nice that not everyone had to agree on a course of action. Everything was laid out quite well, and it took time, but it was pretty simple once we met with all of those folks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you haven't updated your estate plans, maybe you think, hey, I haven't done it since the kids were little. Wishes may be different. Maybe you've never done it at all. And, maybe you did it, but you don't understand it, and you just want a second opinion. And again, we're not attorneys, so you're not going to have a clock ticking in the background with the legal fees. But, you can get some advice on what we've seen with real-life world experiences in dealing with this. And more importantly, if you just want to take that next step, give our office a call, get a copy of that Ultimate Estate Planning Checklist. This is an area where you get one shot at getting it right. So what you have in writing, that's how it's going to go ultimately when something happens. And so just to ensure that your family has the peace of mind, whether it's late stage estate planning or whether it's something that you're new to doing estate planning, we're here to help.
Nolan, I like that document so much I've started using it myself.
And that's great. It's something, again, that can be accessible to you just by reaching out, giving a call, 419-794-3030. You can also go to the website, arhq.com. There are countless stories out there of celebrities who have estate planning mishaps. James Brown, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, the list goes on. And it's not just because they are famous that these issues occur. It is, simply because they are famous. And so their name is in the spotlight. It happens every single day to people just like you and me. And it can be avoided just with a little bit of proper planning. Is it the easiest conversation to have? No, of course not. But it is something that could save a lot of heartache, I think, and a lot of headaches for your loved ones down the line. And it's as easy as getting a copy of that ultimate estate planning checklist and going from there. So again, 419-794-3030 to get started, or go to the website, arhq.com.